This is a wild situation to have. Imagine somebody liked your artwork so much they actually wanted to buy it from you. You're probably super excited, super elated, cha-ching, like you got a commission, a sale. And as an artist, that's a huge achievement and something you're probably super excited and hoping for. What if you find out though that it was not your work they wanted to buy, but it looks like yours? That is what happened to artist Brian Larson, an oil painter based in Utah. So Brian writes, well, that was a first. I was just contacted by some guy asking to buy a print of the painting of the boy and his grandpa sitting on a wagon watching a rocket launch, but that he couldn't find it on my website. I replied that I never painted anything matching that description, and he sent me this obviously AI generated ripoff of The Unknown Awaits. Second image is my original painting. I know this gentleman meant well. He was genuinely looking for a legitimate way to get a print of an image he liked as a gift for his son. But this is gonna be an interesting issue from now on. So this is Brian's original oil painting featuring a little girl dressed up kind of as an astronaut and a guy sitting on a wagon, and they're watching a rocket launch off in the distance. A lot of Brian's works, that I'll show you in a second, revolves around kind of space or astronauts and those themes. So this is very in line with his work and it looks so cool. And this is the AI generated version, where instead is a little boy holding the helmet and his grandpa sitting on the wagon looking at the rocket launching in the distance. It misses a lot of the charm and the color usage that is featured in Brian's work that makes it so pretty. But because it was generated off of Brian's work, it's easy to kind of take a look at it and possibly misattribute it to Brian's work. And a commenter says, will you paint another version like the one he wants for him? If you do, how will you feel about it? Genuinely curious. Great art, by the way. And Brian says, if you wanted to commission one, that would be great, especially if it was meaningful and inspiring to him. I would want to redesign it enough to make it its own painting rather than just swapping out the figures. My original was painted for me, inspired by my parents who were always helping us make creative toys with cardboard, duct tape, and crayons, and by my own daughter who loves space, and also modeled for the girl in the picture. And a commenter says, this is the difference between real art and AI. And I feel like that's the beauty of real art, right? Because you get to see so much of the artist's life experience and interests featured in the own piece. Because Brian's parents were always encouraging creative crafts with duct tape. A lot of duct tape and cardboard is featured here, right? The girl is wearing like a duct tape cardboard and 1 liter soda bottle or 2 liter soda bottle taped in the back to make it look like a jetpack. That is so cute. And another person says, ever think of making one based on a new idea? And Brian also adds, I have a pretty big backlog of things I'd like to paint, but I certainly wouldn't be adverse to painting a version of this idea with a boy and his grandpa if somebody wants to commission it. And another person says, did you offer him a print of the original? And Brian says, of course. The entire interaction with him was lovely. Like I said, he was completely acting in good faith. No one involved in this was in any way trying to do anything unethical or infringe on copyright. And obviously, there's a lot of discussion in the art community about the impact of AI generated art, pros and cons, and a lot of very extreme opinions in every possible direction. This was just a situation I had never encountered before. And another person said, does AI affect your mood towards painting? I mean, that spark of joy to create something? And Brian says, no, I still love painting. Mostly, I love the process of it and the problem solving and work required to make an image with paint. I personally can't imagine wanting to automate that part. It seems like buying a robot to go to the gym for you or to hike Mount Kilimanjaro for you. That said, I have seen some AI generated work that is really great and where you can tell there was real intention and human creativity and direction behind it. That is pretty rare though. And somebody says, we've officially entered the AI imitation as flattery era where people are accidentally hunting down artists for paintings that only exist because an algorithm chewed up their soul and spat out a low-res hallucination. Other people are pointing out how AI made a traditional version because again, both characters are now male and the older figure is a grandpa with the traditional kind of like balding, on the top. So you got the halo of like residual hair type thing. And commenters are saying how they like the original better, where it's a little girl dressed up as an astronaut. And this figure could be a really young dad or maybe her older brother that is like watching. And another person says the wildest part isn't the AI ripoff. It's that somebody genuinely tried to pay for art. They found a painting they loved, tracked down what they thought was the artist, and offered money. The system worked exactly as it should, except the painting never existed. AI didn't steal from artists. It created a parallel universe of art that looks buyable but has no legitimate source. We're entering an era where consumers will demand to purchase things that were never made by anyone. and there's no ethical way to fill that demand. And while there's no ethical way, that doesn't stop those online dropshippers from selling you an AI image and then absolutely cooking it into something completely different. And by the way, Brian's work is so pretty. Here is some work that he has. He was doing the start to finish trend, the start, and then this is the progress of the painting into the final result. And again, a lot of his work features space. So he has this is a then and now 2003. Wow, I was 3 years old. And then 2023. And again, I love seeing the thoughts, right? Brian adds how far we've come, 56 by 32 inches, oil on linen canvas, painted in 2003, painted when the space shuttle was still, I thought, the coolest flying thing. It's always interesting to look back at older work. I remember a very long session with the model trying to find a way to get a pose that would feel even remotely like microgravity. I used a photo from an old National Geographic as part of the reference for Earth, and had no idea that the distinctive body of water between the astronaut's hand and shuttle, the Oral Sea, had almost completely disappeared due to agricultural diversions to the contributing rivers. I found out about it when somebody asked if I intentionally included it as an optimistic take on a future restoration of the lake, which no, I was not nearly that clever or geographically literate. But I like the idea. But yeah, here is another example of some work that Brian has done. School of Awesome, a narrative portrait commission. I just went on like a big rabbit hole. I'm gonna be so honest stalking his work because I think his work is so pretty. Not only is the painting beautiful, obviously, but the intentionality behind the way the piece is framed, you know? Here we have like an astronaut talking to somebody from like ancient Greece, pointing at a rocket ship in the back, kind of being like, oh, like this is what could be a reality. This is just so cool, man. There's so much thought put into it. And again, I just think that is the beauty when it comes to real art because you have the thought and intentionality. And also, again, by the way, some people were being mad rude about Brian's work versus the AI, being like, well, the AI looks better, blah, blah, blah. Like literally, one, it is completely free to be kind, okay? And nobody asked for your opinion. And a commenter says, those saying that the flat AI one is better clearly have no effing idea of what good art looks like. The actual painting actually evokes thought, and you can clearly see the technical skill through the dynamic poses and anatomy, lightings, colors, and whatever else I'm too ignorant to notice. And Brian says, much appreciated. Fortunately for me, I don't need to please every random X user. So thankfully, Brian is taking this all in stride, which I love. But this is going to be something that's going to become more and more of a reality. So combating this will become ever more difficult, right? A situation like this that is so odd. AI was used to generate a new piece based off of Brian's work. And I mean, it worked in the sense that Brian got a new client or customer possibly. As a result, your art was taken and made into something else without your consent. And now there is the pseudo art piece existing online, referencing an existing piece, but is not its own artwork. And like what Brian was saying, this is only going to become more and more of a reality for artists, and we'll need to find a way to combat that, which is, oh God, something that I didn't even think in my younger years. I'm not even that old, but some of you guys might call me old, wasn't even a reality. So after seeing this, what are your thoughts about this? I will have Brian linked down below so you can go check out his amazing artwork. It's absolutely gorgeous. Has this happened to you? Hopefully not. But this seems like a rare situation. I haven't seen a situation like this before. If you like this video, I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there like emotes and overlays and stuff. And I also have a coffee with free resources like a free sponsorship guide. And I also stream on Twitch. I stream there 3 days a week, Mondays, and I used to stream Wednesdays. I've moved my Wednesdays to Thursdays now at 7:30 p.m. and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch y'all there or in another video.